All right, logging in here. Mic check 1 2. Check 1 2. Looks good. All right. I see 11 of you already. Great. So we're getting ready to start another presentation. My name's John Pichata. We're going to be talking about hacking music here in just a second. Let's give some people some time to jump on. Go ahead and comment your location of where you're streaming in from. Atlanta, Detroit, Austin. Great, my hometown. Quebec City. Very nice. Atlanta. Mobile. Atlanta again. Great. A lot from Atlanta. Okay, good. So more people will be jumping on. It looks like there's about 38, 39 people on. So let's go ahead and get started. So welcome, everybody. My name's John Pichata, and today's training is something I'm super excited about. We wake up every day working from and operating out of the hacking music system. So I'm going to be showing you how thousands of artists are beginning to shift out of what we call the label lottery and luck mindset and move into something much healthier, much more integrated, much smarter for artists as they're building their career. So over the next hour, hour and a half, I'm going to basically give you the foundation of the hacking music system. This is our playbook for how we work and operate. So you definitely want to turn your phone on airplane mode, maybe get your earbuds in if you have them. This is going to move fast, so you definitely want to kind of focus and get your active listening together. So let's jump in. So today's training is called the 5 Silver Bullets, Sabotaging Your Music Career, how to develop, deploy, and dominate a real career. So this is the foundation that we will build on going forward. The focus of this webinar visually, it looks like this. Up at the top, you have the model most artists operate out of. This is trying to win a contest, trying to get lucky, trying to be all things to all people, following everybody's opinion and really chasing kites instead of flying your own kite. So down here at the bottom is the hacking music system. So full disclosure, we want to move as many of you from the top on down to the bottom. It's a much healthier way to build a career. So, all right, so my goal tonight on this webinar, I have 3 primary goals. I want to increase knowledge, I want to increase strategy, and I want to increase execution for you and your team. So let's talk about each of these. Knowledge. So we want to help those in the music marketplace fill their gaps in a way that leads to greater success. So for you as an artist, you have those things that you're very good at, and maybe one day you can be best in the world at. And inversely, you probably have those things that you're really bad at and you shy away from. So when we say fill your gaps, for you and your team, we want to strengthen what you're doing as a team. And historically, the industry, how it's worked in the past, is much of this knowledge has been locked up. The gatekeepers and decision makers don't want you to know the real game that's being played, because that would change the leverage and change the conversation for them in a negative way. So knowledge, mindset, IQ points, we want to create a worldview around how you build your career that is much healthier than the old way of doing it. Second is strategy. We want to help those in the music and media business in understanding the importance of strategy and to see a map forward. Many artists get stuck in what we call golfing in the dark, trying to get lucky or win a singing contest. Artists who implement the hacking music system develop a clear strategic roadmap that they and their teams execute against. This helps the artists not only create better music, but to strengthen their focus across all their projects and to really build resilience across all parts of their career. And lastly is execution. We want to help music entrepreneurs with ways to better execute against their strategies and to manage projects, to avoid feeling overwhelmed and to really do more faster. So, and the net of this is not really to turn you into a machine, but really to free up creative time for you to be about making the music around your career. So knowledge, we want to make you smarter. Strategy, we want to give you a vision. And execution, we want to help you do more faster. And also, you definitely want to stay until the end because I'm going to be sharing with you something that we really love and have been focused on for a while now. So I know it's really going to help many of you grow the career that you actually want in a real authentic way. So here tonight on this webinar, we want to add value to you and your team. So let's get started. So who is this for? And I'm going to shut off the webinar, the camera here so we can just focus in on this. So let's dive in. So who is this for? Am I in the right place? If your goal is to build a 15-year, 20-year career, you're in the right place. If you're frustrated with the noise, the distraction, email spamming, you're in the right place. If you want to become an artist who creates not only great music, but has a great career that is financially successful, you're in the right place. If you've already put some points on the board, but you're not content with where you are, maybe you feel like you're not using all of what you can do, you are definitely in the right place. And as an artist, if you want to position yourself for the future, I can promise you this will be one of the most valuable sessions you've maybe been a part of ever. So who am I? My name's John Pichata. I'm the managing partner at Jetpack Artist Ventures, headquartered here in Nashville. Involved at the Jetpack Label Group as the A&R manager, and also involved in our sync and supervision unit, the Sync Center, as the sync manager. Our team has personally helped thousands of artists build out both the content and the platform sides of their career. My collaborators, if you've seen Tim McGraw in the last 20 years, you've seen Jeff playing keys with him. If you listen to the 6 Minute Music Business Podcast, you've heard Wade Sutton. Both super talented guys, love them both. Here we are schlepping through the editing phase of the book, which was extremely wrist-slitting, shall we say. So who have we worked with in the past? We've been fortunate to be trusted by artists, companies, and legacies estates all over the country. Few of the people we've worked with, Fall Out Boy, Garth, Kesha, Whitney, Sony ATV, Frank Sinatra Estate, Macklemore, artists that have left Hall of Fame bands and have building out their own careers, Vince Gill. So, as well as regional artists who are recording their first record or doing their first tours on upward to Hall of Fame artists. You know, whether they're household names or up-and-coming artists, they've all kind of, Showtime and Peter Cetera too, they've all kind of ditched the old world of slaving out to a record label. And they've all said, we don't want to work for the man, we want to be the man. We want to build out our own career and really decide where it goes and have more control over their career. The best part of the story is they've all left behind the old label lottery and luck mindset. Some things we've been a part of in the past, a joint venture with Garth Brooks' company. We've won some awards, an American Music Award, Song of the Year nomination, Video of the Year nominations. We've done thousands of sync licenses and music supervision projects. We can be heard on 21 singles, 15 that charted in the Billboard Top 10, and 6 that reached number 1. And we've raised close to $20 million for our portfolio companies. And some people have said some really nice things. Ted Goldthorpe, who runs Sony ATV Publishing, supervisor North American Publishing, said that Hacking Music is an operating system for thriving in the new music marketplace. Steve Thompson, who mixed Appetite for Destruction and produced Korn and Metallica and Wu-Tang, said, do you want to be first in the line, to be the first in your own line or last in a line of imitators? If Harvard had a course in the new music industry, this would be the textbook. Scott Welch, who managed Alanis for a decade, and Steve Perry and Collective Soul, said hacking music is a collection of signal in a world full of noise. So we're grateful that people have said some nice things, but our mission is really not to get quotes. Our mission is this, and that's to multiply talent. We want to strengthen artists and expand how they are experienced. So what that means is that as an industry, we need to do a better job of replacing the artists we've lost. It's super common to see developing artists self-destruct on the runway, or even worse, to see them get taken advantage of at an inflection point of their career. So in a real sense, you are the next generation of great artists, and we need you to step into the shoes of the artists we've lost. You have a real duty to succeed, and we take that pretty seriously. So it is not hyperbole when we say the world needs you to become who you were meant to be as an artist. So what makes hacking music different? There's 3 things, really. It's a music system that isn't about music. Yes, it results in better music, but we've purposely avoided focusing on the technical, how to play your instrument, how to record your music creative part. Instead, we focus on how you think, plan, and build the business of being an artist. This will always be relevant and essential. And this is exactly what we'll be focusing on tonight, as well as all the modules. We say this often: songs change, production changes, technology platform changes. Hacking music is about what doesn't change. It's that internal core engine of an artist's career. So, number two, it's not about ego. It's not about sales. It's not about spamming you or pummeling you into submission. All that kind of makes me throw up in the back of my mouth. This is not about money. This is about building the next generation of great artists. And this is how we transfer that information. We've been very fortunate, and we want to help the next generation get there. Also, we don't want to make clones. We don't want to create sycophants who worship us. We want to make you more formidable as an artist and really to help you compete at a higher level. We say it often: a career is built not by making one lucky decision. A career is built by making thousands of right decisions over time. And the third way that hacking music is different is that we take a visual approach in explaining and understanding a smart career path forward. Visual thinking is how most artists are wired naturally, and it starts with your brain. You've probably heard a picture is worth 1,000 words. And that's true for some very scientific reasons. The brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text. 40% of all nerve fibers connected to the brain are linked to the retina. And visual information comprises 90% of the data that comes to our brain. So that's interesting, but what does that mean to me? I'm just an artist, right? So what it means to you is that artists have a learning style. And visual thinking is how most artists are wired naturally. I would say, let's see, if there's 75 people on the webinar here, probably 98, 99% of you are visual thinkers. If you open up a spreadsheet, your eyes probably cross, 4 minutes into it. If you open a 60-page legal document, you probably check out around paragraph 3. So this means, for us, this means that we want to get information into you that is actionable and not just draw this out to make ourselves look smarter. We want to make you more competent and competitive as an artist. So it's a music system that isn't about music. It's not about ego, sales, or spamming, and we take a visual approach. So how do we get there? I thought it'd be helpful to give you some context around how hacking music came to be and who its creators are. So my history: I was a kid from Texas. I grew up playing in bands, sneaking into clubs before I was of age to do so, and working in studios and skipping school to see Stevie Ray Vaughan and Van Halen and Pat Metheny. Was fortunate to receive a scholarship to Belmont in the early 90s. And from Belmont, spent a number of years touring. Got to see the world, live in a bus, and it was a great time in my life. But I really got bored really using all of what I wanted to do. So instead of being creative an hour a night, I wanted to be creative, 9 hours, 10 hours a day. So from touring, that grew into a role at Sony Tree as a staff writer and producer, where a great mentor of mine, Randy Cox, really gave me a ton of rope, where I would write the song, I would produce the song, hire the players, handle the budgets, mix it, and turn it in every week or so. So that was a really great, productive time in my life. And that really grew into a production company where instead of just writing songs trying to hit a moving target, where we were producing, 10 or 11 songs at a time. So every 3 months we would write the record, produce the record, mix the record, and we upstream bands and artists to the majors throughout this, what was that, about 8 or 9 years. From the production company, that's when we started doing sync. That was around the Dawson's Creek era. That turned into a publishing company where I grew into a joint venture with Garth Brooks' company. You can think of Jetpack as an angel investment company that upstreams to larger companies. It's a media venture firm that accelerates high-performing artists and their IP. So after doing this for years, all along we got in the habit of collecting valuable things. We had a big binder where we just collect things from meetings or board meetings or things that people talked about that really added clarity and focus to what we were working on. So The Hacking Music system was developed over the last 15 years in the management offices, recording studios, and writer rooms, boardrooms, performance arenas, and even tour buses. Hacking Music is the training practice we use and teach every day. It's the system that contains all the distilled tools, tactics, and insider baseball you won't find anywhere else. We've assembled from both our successes and failures into a collection of what works. And here's the thing, the music industry is bombarding you with distracting information, keeping many of you confused, desperate, and chasing kites. Here's the old system was meant to keep you dependent, broke, frustrated, and desperate. Artists were really set up to fail. Artists then, it was common for artists to have a weak self-image, creatively exhausted, a brief career lifespan, undereducated and dependent, and really buying into the rock stars or limousine idea, where they enter into bad deals where they wouldn't even participate in the deals. So it's not, for many artists, it's not their fault they failed. They were meant to fail. They were playing the wrong game. They didn't even know the game they were playing. So our mission is to create stronger artists. So our artists have a different worldview. And that's this, that careers are built, not bought. That team is sometimes greater than talent. That platform is often more important than content. And that everything has a destination. So the decisions you make today will affect you a year from now, two years from now. And that now is really the best time in history. There are no gatekeepers. So it's you against you as an artist. And that means that as an artist, you're 100% responsible to know the game you're playing, to operate your business in a way that you want to lead your business. So what that means for artists of the future, that distills into three essentials. First is that artists who own their careers are better artists. They make better decisions and over time create longer careers. And even sometimes they make better music. You can think of Taylor, Garth, or Tiesto as artists like this. And second is success leaves clues. One person's hindsight can be another's foresight. You don't have to make all the mistakes yourself. And thirdly, that limiting beliefs kill careers. Your worldview matters, and we're going to begin to tease that out on the webinar. And this brings us to really a serious responsibility. Music has the power to change people, cultures, and to create experiences that are unbeatable. So if you're going to have a career, this is how you do it. Everything we'll be working through has been tested and vetted and shared in some of the most private meetings and conversations. So Sheryl Crow said something that we borrow often. Music does something to the molecules in the room. And she was both right and wrong at the same time. Yes, music matters, but now it is no longer enough. And really here is a moment of hard truth for many people, myself included. And I remember the moment that as we were writing the textbook, we really had to swallow this. And that's this, that the core attributes necessary for success in the new music marketplace are not musical in nature. Let me say that again. The core attributes necessary for success in the new music marketplace are not musical in nature. So before you crucify me, let me give you some history and context. So in the old world, you had to get really good. And then you got possibly discovered. And then if you got discovered, then maybe you got famous. So now the marketplace is neutral. So it doesn't matter if you're green, blue, yellow, whatever. It's you against you. So the reality is that lesser talented artists are often blowing past the more talented artists because they learned how to do a couple key things. They learned how to build, organize, and execute. And I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying it's true and becoming more and more common. Lesser talented artists can blow past the most talented artists because they learn these things. And let's use this as a springboard here. There's three gears that all artists' careers go through: developing, deploying, and dominating. So what you do with these 5 silver bullets we're about to talk about will either keep you operating at low levels, the developing levels, or shift you into higher gears. So these are the 3 gears: developing, deploying, and dominating. So how does this apply to you? So here's how this applies to you in your situation. We know you and what you're going through intimately. very well. So all development responsibility, all writing, all production has shifted onto the artist's shoulders. Now you as an artist are responsible for more than ever before. All creative, all platform, all digital, all touring, all writing is on you, the artist. More is on your plate than ever before. Oh, and I guess I forgot to mention there's a pandemic going on too. So more is on your plate than historically has ever been the case. So we see every day that artists with real careers believe something, and that it's better to get good than it is to get lucky. Let me say that again. It's better to get good than it is to get lucky. You may be able to learn this the hard way over the next 15 years, but I'd rather you allow our hindsight to be your foresight. And in a sense, you get to cheat and get the easy way. So the focus on the masterclass is this. We want to begin to unplug from the magical modes of thinking and to shift into a very different way of thinking and executing, and that's the hacking music system at the bottom. So I wanted to give you some context around how hacking music came to be and who we are as its creators. So let's go to the training session. So this is from Hacking Music, How Artists Think, the 5 Silver Bullets. A music artist's biggest enemy isn't always the constantly changing business climate or having access to enough money to cover costs. Oftentimes, the artist's worst enemy is themselves, and a group of myths we like to refer to as silver bullet thinking. The term silver bullet thinking comes from the stories about how a silver bullet can kill a werewolf. If you're familiar with the old Universal horror movies, this will be familiar. Needing only that one silver bullet makes killing a werewolf sound easy, fast, somewhat manageable. It's really not a big deal. You just get the bullet and you got it. In the music marketplace, you'll come across a lot of people promising to teach artists concepts that sound a lot like silver bullets. Here are some of the most common methods of silver bullet thinking with which artists commonly sabotage their own career. Silver bullet number 1 is luck. If I could just insert your wish here, the myth that the artist believes is if I could just get on a playlist or meet the music supervisor or get my music into the hands of somebody at a record label or meet somebody famous, they will surely sign me. If I could just get on The Voice so I can be on TV, that will do everything for me. And how this sabotages your career is that the artist is falling into the trap of having a lottery mindset instead of being focused on the work that needs to be done to create a real career with real momentum, with real art. Winning one popular television show does not guarantee long-term success. In fact, with only a handful of exceptions, nearly every artist appearing in the top 10 of every season has fallen off the national radar since their show ended. You want to remember this. You don't get a record deal until you don't need a record deal. We'll be unpacking this and supporting this and clarifying this more throughout the masterclass. But for now, just remember, you don't get a record deal until you don't need a record deal. Luck definitely lives down here at the bottom of the gears. Silver bullet number 2 is talent. If I was only better at this one thing, you can insert your thing there. The myth that the artist believes is this: if I can just write the best songs, I know people will fall in love with them. Or if I can just be the best singer, people will fall in love with my voice and they'll all become fans. So how this sabotages your music career, because no matter how great your art is, you still need to successfully build the platform to support it, to strengthen, support, and sell your music. Artists in this category are hyper-focused on the artistic side and more often than not neglect their platform in favor of immersing themselves in the art and talent. Worst case scenario is the artist gets stuck in their head and they never get to the point where they're building their career. Let me tell you a story of a good friend of ours some years ago. Fantastic singer, kind of had this idea that he needed to get this 5-octave range, and he would spend hours, weeks, months, and even years later he was still working on this 5-octave range, and it really tricked him. It kept him off the field. He was stuck on the sidelines and never entered the game of building a career. This silver bullet number 2 is especially treacherous because talent is good. You want to be great at what you do, no doubt. But you want to remember this: talent wins high school and teams win in life. Talent wins high school and teams win in life. Talent definitely lives down here at the developing gear. Yes, it's good, but talent is everywhere. Silver bullet number 3 is money. If I just had, insert your dollar amount here. Let me tell you a story about a worst case scenario. A friend of ours, former American Idol contestant, I think he was in the top 5, maybe top 3, 7 or 8 years ago, had put together a substantial amount of money from a group of investors. The artist believed that if he could spend enough money, he could get back to his American Idol level of notoriety. First, he suffered from fame. Now he's suffering from money. You can say he was tricked by fame, and now he's being tricked by money. The problem is, one would think that unlimited opportunities and resources would provide more creativity from an aspiring artist, but most artists freeze up when they are presented with too many options and possibilities. They become lost with indecision and lack of focus, ultimately compromising their output. While many artists shut down when confronted with too many options, others thrive when challenged with limited resources, meeting goals, completing their tasks, finding solutions through their own creative efforts despite the obstacles. These are called force limitations, and they require artists to execute on the fundamentals of their art within an extremely limited set of constraints. You want to remember this. Answering this question is everything. What can you do with nothing? Let me say it again. What can you do with nothing? The question you need to get comfortable answering is, what can you do with nothing? Don't be embarrassed by not having resources. Be embarrassed by not being resourceful. Some of the best artists in the world have very limited resources and created some of the classic, most known music in the world. We go much further into the case studies in the force limitations section of the masterclass, but for now, let me tell you a story about how one artist left this silver bullet and created some incredible content. So James Wan was a student some years ago, and his student film project, he had some very specific limitations. He had one camera, and he had 1 week to shoot it. Most artists would hear this and just throw up their hands and throw a hissy fit. But James Wan actually answered the question, what can you do with nothing? And he shot a student film, Saw. He created it within these limitations. He shot it. He produced it. Evolution Entertainment was shown the video after he finished it, and they were impressed with his work and offered Wan a $1 million budget with plans to just send the movie straight to DVD. They weren't really thinking it was going to be anything great. Chunks of that budget went to Danny Glover of Lethal Weapon fame and the Princess Bride star Carrie Hughes, I think was her name. The movie got shot in 18 days and was done so quickly that the cast barely had time to rehearse their parts. The movie Saw made $18 million during its opening weekend, and a sequel was ordered by the following Monday. Saw and its sequels have went on to gross over $1 billion. So this is especially treacherous because having money is good. You think you have all these options, and it actually works against you. So you want to remember this. Don't be embarrassed by not having resources. Be embarrassed by not being resourceful. The myth that the artist believes is this: if I can just figure out a way to come up with enough money, I can hire the best marketing team, the best PR people, the best manager, I'll have everything I need to be successful. Or if I can come up with enough money to record the album and get the top musicians in the country and a really expensive producer, then everyone will love my music and they will want to buy it. So how this sabotages your career is this: because no matter how much money you spend on making the product, the artist still has to have their platform in place to take everything to the next level. Money definitely lives down here at the developing gear. Silver bullet number 4 is smart. If I only knew more about XYZ. The myth that the artist believes is this: if I go to college and get a business degree, get a master's degree, or get, God forbid, get a PhD, I will learn everything I need to know and everything will fall into place after I graduate. So, how this sabotages your career is that many artists believe that going to school and earning that degree guarantees them something once they're out. The reality is that degrees are everywhere. Let me tell you a story about a worst case scenario. A friend of ours some years ago was at a university here in Nashville, and she was $250,000 in debt, had no experience, and had to drop out of school and move back home. And she spent some years just paying off that debt. The music degree was, universities are $50,000 to $70,000 a semester, and the reality is that the world changes faster than universities can keep up with. Another person who I think now has 4 degrees spent her whole life getting degree after degree after degree and has no career. She was tricked by this silver bullet number 4 of smarts. If I just knew more about something. So let me tell you kind of the flip side of this. A good friend of ours, Rodney Jerkins, who produced Prince, Michael Jackson, everybody. As a kid, he would show up at a studio in, I believe it was Atlanta, and he would just show up every Saturday. And pretty soon they let him into the studio. He'd bring his keyboard and he'd show up, and then he would make coffee. Next Saturday he'd show up. Hey, there's that kid again. He just keeps showing up. And pretty soon they gave him the opportunity to work on a song. They'd heard some of his plinking on the piano, and they were like, well, let's get Rodney in there and write a song. So kept showing up Saturday after Saturday. And they go, okay, hey, that's actually not a horrible song. Rodney, why don't you take it and produce it? Let's see what you can do. This was back in the 80s. So he produced the song. He just kept showing up. And Rodney, he didn't go to university. He wasn't studying music theory. He was developing his muscle, the creative muscle that has served him very well. The silver bullet is especially treacherous because smart is good. You want to know about stuff. But music is not brain surgery. We're not putting men on the moon. There's 12 notes, X amount of chords. There's some fixed components there. And you want to remember this, is that doing is faster than learning. Doing is faster than learning. The world moves so fast that you can't keep up with the amount of change. You just have to execute and do the stuff you need to do. You'll never get smart enough. You'll just get sick and tired of waiting around. Smarts definitely lives down here at the developing gear. Silver bullet number 5. I call it me, or fame. Look at me, don't you think I'm amazing? The myth that the artist believes is this: everybody should know who I am because I'm so amazing. How it sabotages your career is this: it creates an inverted mindset in which the artist is hyper-focused on pleasing themselves instead of maybe what their fans want. And all the decisions begin to be made from the place of what pleases me. Worst case scenario is kind of the Cash Me Outside girl from Dr. Phil. You probably know who that would be. This is especially treacherous because remarkable is good. You want to be great at what you do. As an artist, you want to please yourself. You don't want to write music that you hate. The thing you want to remember is this: a good artist tells their story. A great artist tells the listener's story. They create experiences that their fans want to be part of, want to step into the world of what the artist is creating. A good artist tells their story. A great artist tells the listener's story. The me here definitely lives down at the developing gear. So, the 5 silver bullets are these. Luck, if I could just. Talent, if I were only better at. Money, if I only had. Smarts, if I only knew more about. Fame, look at me. So, these are especially insidious because many people never get beyond these. They never leave these behind. They actually get stuck believing these myths as actual facts. And they never knew why. Years and years go by and wonder why a career never happened or they never built momentum. This is why. They got stuck believing these lies and their careers never happened. So, how do you use these 5 silver bullets? So, this is very foundational to all the modules we'll be going through. You want to use these as mental guardrails, as a checklist. Let them act as rails, let them be reminders, let them be red flags for you as you step through your career. All right, so let's recap. So the 5 silver bullets: luck, if I could just; talent, if I was only better at; money, if I only had; smarts, if I only knew more about; me, look at me, aren't I amazing? So reality, and it's important to point this out, is that there's really nothing inherently wrong with any of these 5 things. Actually, all of them will play some kind of role in the career of a professional artist. An artist has to have a certain amount of luck, no doubt. An artist must be talented. Yes. An artist has to be smart. Absolutely. An artist must be willing to invest in their career. Sure. The drive to be famous and having recognition can give some artists the drive they need to continue. So, what is fatal is when the artist believes that some magic combination of these 5 will somehow flick the switch on their career. Yes, they're essential, but they're not sufficient by themselves. And what's especially insidious is that many artists don't even know they're being tricked and controlled by these 5. They get stuck believing these myths and just assume that they're factual, scientific truth. And they never know why. They never built momentum and built a career. Years go by and they wonder why. So, how do you use these 5 silver bullets? So, these are the mental guardrails for you to use as you go through your day-to-day work. Let them act as rails, let them act as reminders, and let them act as red flags, kind of keeping you focused when you see yourself reverting back to luck, talent, money. Remind yourself that these are the silver bullets sabotaging most artists' career. So how you think affects your vision affects your strategy, and your strategy affects what you work on. So everything we've talked tonight is really just the preseason of hacking music, the very foundational unplugging of some of these limiting beliefs. So if these 5 silver bullets don't work, then what does? So it's a great question. And the other 99 spokes within hacking music is our attempt to answer these in the affirmative. So there's not just one big answer. There are thousands of smaller questions, each with the right answer. And if my kid were passionate about music, this is how I would show him how to do it. Make no mistake, this is hard work, and you already know that. But if you're going to do it, this is the system that accelerates that process. This is the focus, speed, and the map that get you there. You can think of it like compounded interest, where money grows automatically. These are the simple, actionable collection of micro habits that compound over time. The force multipliers and decision-making frameworks that train you and your team to do more of the right things faster. For artists, this is the working on your business, not the working in your business. So we put a lot of love and focus into this, and we've developed a way to offer a small number of you something really special that we're very excited about. The Hacking Music Masterclass is built to move you from the top down here to the bottom. The masterclass happens twice each month, where we as a group, we hit pause on everything and block out this sacred mind hive time and actually build a brain around your career. We're going to drill down into a module within the hacking music system. This is the system that drove the top 2% to success. The Jay-Z's, the Taylors, the Garths, the Jimmy Buffetts, and Grateful Dead. Sure, they had great music. Sure, they had luck. Sure, they had talent. But this is how they built layer upon layer of success. Whether they knew it naturally or figured it out over time, it doesn't matter. So the modules that we're going to talk about, these are some of the modules. The benefit here for Module 1 is that it unplugs the limiting beliefs and really sets the stage for us to build on. This is the laying the foundation module. Artist is hacker. The benefit here is that it shifts the artist from the precious, happy unicorn artist into the hacker worldview. And it gives artists the tools um, that non-hacking music artists just don't have. Super Song module, this aims their songwriting time in the right direction. Creative differentiation, gives you the exact steps of how to set you, your brand, and your music apart from the competition. Super teams, the benefit here is that it builds the team that helps you win. Living on planet reality, the benefit for artists is that these are the tools that tell you the truth. When your creative side wants to dominate and chase happy unicorns, these are the rails that keep you focused. Lean music methodology, gosh, everything you do as an artist is a project, and these are the proven project management systems that headliners use. E-commerce module, gosh, revenue matters and everything is digital. These are the tools that we use and we use with our artists every day. Doing deals, the 6 P's of the music marketplace, the music business model canvas, record label model canvas. Here's what you're going to get. The Mastermind membership includes these 12 modules and the Hacking Music textbook, 2 monthly training sessions, 12 sessions over the next 6 months. Each have their module reading and their monthly action items. 12 training modules is almost a $7,000 value, total value of $6,785. So my challenge to you is this: what if for the next 6 months you turn off the noise, you block out this sacred time, and you join us? You do what I tell you to do, where you begin to digest and implement the force multipliers in the hacking music system. So if you're over the noise and ready to do the heavy lifting of building a career, we've got 40 seats available. We also have a waiting list available. So if you're not part of this first group, then we'll keep you in the loop going forward. And like always, we want to keep these groups small and transformational. So that's why we've limited the groups to only 40. So here's how it transforms you as an artist. It shifts you from trying to get lucky to making your own luck. It shifts you from being a learner into a doer. It shifts you from being a wisher into an actual achiever. It shifts you from being distracted into having actual focus. It shifts you from being a lone ranger into being a team builder. It shifts you from being anemic into having a healthy, holistic, integrated artist career. It shifts you from just developing into actually deploying and dominating as an artist. So that's part of the transformation that happens here. Also, I almost forgot, we've got some bonuses as well. The IQ points bonus. This is the essential recommended reading and viewing that we share within our team every day. Bonus number 2 is Hacking Music X. You get to come for free next year. It's almost a $1,400 value in a very secure, very private setting. Bonus number 3 is the book Expert Secrets. If you haven't read it, you're going to love it. Bonus number 4 is our friend Marcus Whitney's book, Create and Orchestrate. He went from being a waiter to being a venture capitalist and owning part of a soccer team. It's a great story that is very applicable. So that's how it works. If you think this is something you're ready for, and more importantly, ready to commit to, you can click here to get started. And what I love about this the most is that it really tells artists the truth. Historically, people have always talked down to artists and said, well, you just go be creative and we'll take care of you, and pat the artist on the head. We don't believe in that. We believe artists are entrepreneurs creating businesses. So we talk to artists, not down to artists. And something that is really core to all this is that you don't build a career with cheat sheets and using what worked for somebody else. You build a career by understanding all the moving parts for yourself and actually becoming better and more competitive as an artist. This is the building muscle around your career. So as we close tonight's training, here's your chance. If you think this is something you're ready for, you can click here to get started. We're not going to twist your arm and spam you. When you're ready, you'll be ready. So you can sign up today, and if for any reason you don't like it over the next 30 days, I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours from now, just let us know. We'll give you your money back. And lastly, this is not about a business unit for us or making bank. This is about building the next generation of great artists. And this is the best way of transferring that information. So that wraps tonight's training. I'm excited about what's in front of you, and I look forward to seeing you step into the shoes of some of the great artists that we've lost. So I will see some of you on the inside.